A new stand is on the move, scrap is disappearing quickly, SpaceX hovercraft sighting, and more Fondag repairs. That's right, more Fondag repairs. We'll talk about that and more today in episode 15 of our Starbase Flyover update, brought to you by RGV Aerial Photography. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Starbase Flyover update. My name is Mauricio, and today we'll be doing a flyover over Starbase, Texas. Hope you enjoy this flight. For a quick overview, here's a map layout of the areas of interest at Massey's testing site. Shout out to Procky for creating these maps for each of the 4 sites. Starting off our tour at Massey's, here's a picture of the flyover of Thursday, August 24th. Now sliding over to the picture from Wednesday, August 30th to compare the changes. At the south end of the site, SpaceX started clearing out the storage site. The tent that was here since they started working at Massey's is now being moved here. This explains the purpose of the concrete slab that we saw being prepared last week. It is possible that these moves are being done to clear out the portion of the site for a possible test with S26.1, which could be indicative of the type of testing they plan to perform. Sliding over to the right is the foundation for the new building. We can see that the concrete pour is complete and dry. We have yet to spot the vertical steel needed for this building. In the middle of the site, just to the left of the ship test stand, we can see that rebar is being laid down for a future concrete slab. We can't tell if there will be another test stand or just to add concrete to the entire area surrounding the test stands, but we'll keep an eye on it. To the left is the nose cone gel, where there's not much happening. Preparations are being performed for S24.2 to be tested here, which hopefully will roll out for the build site soon. A little bit to the side is a can crusher with the hot stage test article still on it, waiting for removal and scrapping. Over at the tank farm, the new tanks that were brought here are not yet integrated with the rest. It looks like SpaceX is not in a rush to get them installed. The last vehicles to be tested here was Ship 28 and Booster 10. Crews are now working on both the ship and booster stands to get ready for Ship 29 and Booster 11 to be tested soon. And that's it for Massey's. Moving on to the Sanchez site, which is the first site you arrive to when traveling down Highway 4 in Boca Chica. The areas of interest are pointed out in this map. Before we get started, here's a picture of the flyover from Thursday, August 24th, and now a picture from Wednesday, August 30th to compare the changes. We'll actually get started with the new stands in today's video since there are no notable changes for the ground fabrication building. It appears the second black stand at the bottom is nearly halfway to the same level of completion as the first. We still don't have a firm grasp on what these particular stands could be used for, but the white stands above are a different story. As the newest stand on the right hand side moved further along in construction, the stand on the left is preparing for a move with SPMTs positioned themselves underneath. Following the flyover, the stand was moved and staged next to Highway 4, where it would remain until being moved into the build site on August 31st. The purpose of the platform on the right hand side of the image is now becoming more clear as well. If we zoom in and observe the pie-shaped cutouts closely, we can see what appears to be attachment points on the outer edge. What could they be connecting here? If we take a look over next to the ground fabrication building, we may have our answer. We see what may be extendable arms to lower and raise the platform once attached. Check out this animation created by Chrome Kiwi showing what this may look like in action. This platform was also transported to the build site the morning of August 31st. Moving a short distance down from this area of the site, we see these curved rectangular objects that appear to have a screen mounted in them being constructed. Interestingly, each appears to have 3 tabs located on one end. Could these be inserted on top of the new stand? Maybe they'll be used with the new platform somehow. What do you think their purpose may be? Up near the new water storage tank, we can see 2 older tanks, tops and bottoms, that have been sitting around the site unused for a while and have been relocated to its location. These may be reconstructed and used in addition to a new larger tank. Placement is likely to be on the concrete pad just above the larger tank. Up at the rocket garden, crews are inching closer to completion of the heat shield work on Ship 25's nose cone. Unstable man lifts in breezy Boca Chica environments seem to cause quite a few run-ins with the ship, resulting in small chips or cracks in the fragile tiles. Crews have also been spotted performing work on the heat shield for Ship 28, particularly at the weld seams, where barrel sections are joined together. That does it for Sanchez. Let's move over to the the build site, to check on the progress there. Next up is the build site, where we can see quite a few obvious changes. Feel free to pause and explore this labeled map of the various production facilities at this site. Before we check out the progress, here's a picture from the flyover that occurred Thursday, August 24th, followed by a more current picture from Wednesday, August 30th to compare the changes. Getting started next to the highway near the main entrance, we can see Atlantic Coast Dismantling, the contractor hired to perform the demolition work, is making quick work of the remains of both Tents 1 and 2, as well as the Midbay. Just days after Tent 1 and the Midbay met their unceremonious demise, we can see very little remains of either. Meanwhile, the ring sections that were previously moved alongside Tent 3 to make room for demo work have been moved back into the ring yard. If we take a look from the east, we can see Ship 31's nose cone waiting outside the high bay where it awaits stacking with the payload bay. Both would move into the high bay the evening of August 30th and stacked on the welding table the morning of August 31st. Ship 29 and 30 remain inside as well. Over at Mega Bay 1, Booster 12's methane tank section was stacked on top of the lock section to complete the full stack. Waiting out front, we can see the pipework that was likely waiting for the stacking to be completed prior to installing the booster. An interesting discovery was made from this angle, and it's believed to be in relation to the new booster stand. Zooming in to the left side of the bay, we can see what appears to be the white legs mounted on the floor. These are likely legs for mounting the new stands. The new stand could be seen being transported inside this bay on the 31st. Looking over at the new Mega Bay in progress, we can see the roof sections begin installation in the back corner this week. Staircase sections have also begun installation in the front left and right corners next to the main door. Still no crane trolleys, but we're on the lookout. Using a view from the north to look at the front of the existing Star Factory, we had spotted a flat steel plate just outside last week. This week, the plate is no longer visible, nor is a pre-cut ring section that was spotted in the area a few weeks ago. Both pieces are necessary for making the hot stage ring as seen here on Booster 9 and are likely inside the factory being prepared for Booster 10. Switching back to this view from Highway 4 to check on the Star Factory Phase 2 construction. Progress continues with the connection of the roof sections between Phases 1 and 2 on the north side, while the roof section has begun installation on the second section of the new phase. Column erection in the next portion closest to a highway continues, where the factory will begin getting taller to accommodate nose cones. Our last stop at the build site will be at the far end of the village closest to the launch site. Grading work is occurring in front of the Starlink storage building. Concrete may be in the cards for this location. I wonder if we can invest in the concrete company SpaceX hires. A fun little twist to round out the build site, we spotted 3 SpaceX hovercraft units. It appears one is undergoing maintenance, while the others are staged at their docking locations. SpaceX utilizes these units for faster transportation of personnel from South Padre Island to Starbase. And that does it for the build site. Let's get to the good stuff now. Before moving on, make sure you subscribe for up-to-date news and analysis, and like this video so that it can reach a larger audience. Here's a quick look at the overall layout of the launch site using this map. This is the end of the road for those traveling east on Highway 4, but only the beginning for Starship stacks lifting off on their way to orbit. Before we get started, here is a picture from the flyover that occurred on Thursday, August 24th, followed by the most recent picture from Wednesday, August 30th to compare the changes. Starting off at the suborbital area, we can see that the perimeter wall is progressing quickly, with concrete being poured already. It is also taller than we anticipated. Sliding to the right, we can see that the dance floor is not here anymore. That's because SpaceX moved it under Booster 9 after the 33-engine static fire test. Moving to the tank farm, we had lots of movements over the week. On the methane side, we can see that the teams have installed the new kettle reboiler, also known as subcooler, while the last week they had put in place another one just to the left of it. This will increase the cooling capacity of the CH4 site to a maximum, but that's not all on this side. If we look closely, we can see that during the flyover, SpaceX was in the process of installing the last methane pump, another step closer to max out the methane processing of the farm. Now moving closer to the Gulf, we have the oxygen side, which has been upgraded similar to the methane side. During just one day, we saw 4 new subcoolers get placed on their stands. This maxed out the cooling capacity of the oxygen side. We might see them getting integrated with the infrastructure very soon because we already saw the piping get delivered and is currently at the production site. We also might see the last oxygen pump reappear and get installed in the next few days. Moving south, just behind the integration tower, we have the deluge farm. We can see the beginnings of a new concrete slab, Dirt is being removed and rebar is being laid down in preparation for concrete pouring. Before moving to the orbital launch mount, let's take a look at how the new water tank is doing. We can see that SpaceX didn't install it just yet, but it might happen very soon. Finally, moving to the orbital launch mount, we see new excavation work being performed on the fondant layer. This could be because SpaceX found some weak points after the static fire and they want to strengthen them up ahead of launch. And that's it for Starbase Flyover Update episode 15. Thank you for choosing to fly with RGV aerial photography. If you like what you saw today, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the new videos each week, and also leave a thumbs up. Also, please consider supporting our flyovers through Patreon to gain access to our flyover gallery the same day it occurs. Finally, join our public Discord server to discuss Starship and space in general with like-minded fans around the world. Link is in the description down below. This is Mauricio and that's all for now.